Let's just start with a number, 50%. Since 1950, we've lost half of the entire world's coral reefs. Yeah, 50%. And that's not some scary future projection, that's what's already happened. It sets the stage for one of the biggest ecological fights we're facing right now.
So today, we're going to dig into how we're trying to fix this, how we rebuild these incredible underwater cities. And you'd think the solution is simple, right? Just plant more coral. But it turns out there's this hidden catch, a real conflict brewing just under the surface. It's this crazy paradox. Are we in a race to build reefs fast or to build them to last?
So what's the big rush? Well, people call coral reefs the rainforests of the sea for a reason. Get this, they cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, but they support almost a third of all marine fish species. That's insane. So when they disappear, it's a massive crisis. And our main game plan? It's called active restoration. I mean, literally getting out there in the water and rebuilding them, one piece of coral at a time.
Okay, so if you're trying to rebuild something fast, what do? You grab the materials that grow or set the quickest, right? Well, in the coral world, that's a specific type called Acropora. These things are the speed demons of the reef. They're the go-to for pretty much everyone because they build up that 3D structure super fast. It really is like throwing up the steel frame of a skyscraper as quickly as you possibly can.
But, a building is way more than just a steel frame, right? And that's where we get to our first really big question. What happens if we don't just plant that one fast-growing type? Is there some kind of bonus, maybe a diversity dividend, if we plant a whole bunch of different corals?
To figure this out, some researchers in Indonesia set up this really cool experiment. They basically built a few different kinds of artificial reefs. On one set, they planted just that one single species of Acropora. On another, they planted 2 species. And on the third, they went all out. A big mix of 3 or more different kinds of coral. Then, they just sat back and watched to see who would show up to the party.
And the results? Wow, they were not subtle. The reefs with just one type of coral, yeah, they got some fish, but not many. But the ones with the big mix of 3 or more species, we're talking more than double the number of fish species. I mean, double.
Okay, so the takeaway here seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? If you want a bustling underwater city, you can't just build a bunch of identical tower blocks. You need variety. More coral types equals more fish. Simple. Case closed, right? Build it right, don't just build it fast. Well, maybe not. And this is where things get really interesting. What if that amazing diversity actually comes with a price tag? What if the very thing that makes the reef healthy and full of life, that variety, is also the thing that slows its growth way, way down? That is the paradox we're talking about.
So let's just ask the question straight up. We know those Acropora corals are the speed racers, but does it matter who they're racing next to? Do they grow faster on their own or when they're surrounded by a bunch of different neighbors?
And here it is, the number that throws a wrench in everything. It's actually kind of shocking. When that fast-growing Acropora was planted all by itself, a monoculture, it grew like crazy. We're talking 881 square millimeters a week. But when you put it in that diverse, mixed group, its growth rate got slashed almost in half. It seems like when you put a bunch of different corals together, they're all competing for resources, and it just slows the whole operation down.
So there's the trade-off, right there in black and white. Option 1, plant just one species and you get a reef structure built at lightning speed. Option 2, plant a diverse mix and you get way more fish and a healthier system overall. But the actual growth of the coral foundation is painfully slow. It's the ultimate showdown, speed versus strength. So if you're out there trying to save the reefs, what on earth do you choose?
Well, it turns out the answer might not be about choosing at all. There's a third piece to this puzzle that we've been missing: time. The key to solving this paradox is to stop looking at a single photo and start watching the whole movie. We need to see how these reefs grow up.
There's actually a scientific name for this. It's called ecological succession. Basically, it's just the natural way any community changes over time. Think about it like a brand new neighborhood being built. At first, all you see are the construction crews, the pioneers. Then, maybe the first families move in. A corner store opens up. But it takes a long time before you get that stable, mature neighborhood with its own unique character. And guess what? Reefs work the exact same way.
So let's walk through this reef's life story. For the first 2 years or so, you've got the newcomers. These are mostly plant-eating fish, kind of like the cleanup crew, keeping algae in check on the new surfaces. Then, around years 3 and 4, things get a little
chaotic. This is the transition phase. You actually get the most different species at this point, but the whole community is in flux. It's not stable at all. It's only after you pass the 5-year mark that you get what you really want, the mature neighborhood. This is a balanced, stable system with everyone from the everyday residents to the big predators.
And we can actually put a number on this. Scientists use a measure called the evenness index. All you need to know is, a low score is bad. It means a couple of bullies are running the schoolyard. A high score is good. It means you have a nice, balanced community. And the data shows the journey perfectly. The reef starts off depressed, then it hits that unstable teenage phase, and finally, after 5 years, it becomes stable. The bottom line is, real, lasting recovery just takes time. You can't rush it.
Okay, so where does all this leave us? What does it mean for how we should actually be building reefs from now on? It means we need a smarter plan, one that uses both speed and strength. We have to use what we've learned about time to get the best of both worlds.
All right, let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here. First, you want lots of fish, you need lots of different kinds of coral. It's that simple. Second, you want to build the actual reef structure fast, you got to use those single species patches. And third, the secret ingredient that makes it all work? Time. It's the one thing you absolutely cannot skip if you want a healthy, grown-up ecosystem.
So the real solution here isn't to pick one side. It's not speed or strength. The researchers call it a mosaic strategy, which is a perfect name for it. It's about being smart and using both approaches. You plant patches of the fast-growing stuff to get the foundation built up quickly, and then you weave in these really diverse zones that will attract all the fish and give the reef that long-term strength.
Let's go back to that city planning analogy one last time because it fits perfectly. You use the fast and dirty construction methods to lay down the highways and throw up the skyscrapers. That's your fast-growing coral. But then, inside that framework, you carefully design your unique, diverse neighborhoods, your green parks, your bustling markets, and that's your mixed species planting. You're using speed to create the opportunity for strength to develop.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to that one big question. In this desperate race to save our reefs, do we build them fast or do we build them to last?
And the answer we now know is you have to do both. That paradox isn't a problem to be solved, it's a blueprint to be followed. The future of our reefs really depends on us doing two things at once, acting with the urgency this crisis demands, but also having the wisdom to play the long game, to plan for that slow, patient, and incredible process of building something that will truly last.